Hey, house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 23 updates and spoilers. Hope you're all having a great Monday so far. Honestly, I love Mondays and Tuesdays over the summer because that's as close as I get to a weekend. Over the summer, no episode tonight. Can just relax, watch the Olympics. So, anyway, I am very excited for Mondays and Tuesdays, but I hope you're all having a good one too. Ooh. All right. So, our house guests of the day are John Preeb and Diane Honor. Thank you both so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so, so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below because it's only $1 for a holla. And I also want to thank all of our super chatters from yesterday because you guys are also a huge part of making this show happen. Jefferson Tucker, Megan J.A. Hart, Draval K, Jazz, Michelle Noel Creations, and Candy. Thank you all so much. Super Chat is an awesome way to support our channel. So thank you. And if you guys notice, we got a little cookbook action in the back. So if you guys want your own copy of our cookbook, Plant-Based Air Fryer Cookbook, we've got a link for that below. It's so easy to order it. What? And there's so many delicious recipes in there. So I also just want to say too, if you guys already do have your own copy of our book, if you want to leave a review for it on Amazon, the reviews really help us out. So we'd appreciate it so much. But anyway, without further ado, let's get going. Yeah, my producer's not here yet. Jefferson Tucker. Maybe he's working right now. But Michelle C is stepping in to help out. All right. So when we left off yesterday, Whitney and Hannah up on the block. We know that Christian won the power veto. He's not planning on using it. He's the HOH this week. Why is he going to veto his own nominations? It's not like he had a backdoor plan in place or anything. So it's not looking good for Whitney at this point. But you never know what could happen. You never know if a vote's going to flip or what. So the house guests are trying to plan out now who they're going to target next week, since this week is pretty much already locked in. So lots could change since the team's twist is going to be over, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So Tiffany has her sights set on Sarah Beth. She wants her out. She feels like she can't read her. She feels like there's something fishy going on there. So she is targeting Sarah Beth, and she's getting a lot of other people to target her as well. Tiffany and Xavier were even suspecting that Sarah Beth could be America's player. What? They're wondering why she keeps saying that she wants to make it to jury so badly. They're wondering, does she get extra money for being America's favorite player and making it to jury? Come on. All right. So anyway, yesterday morning, Claire was out on the hammock by herself talking to the cameras. And we got some insight into her game, which I'm excited about because I wasn't really sure where Claire stood exactly. But here's some highlights from what she was telling us. She says she's really playing up the goofiness and the awkwardness, but she is a little bit worried that she's playing it up too much. She doesn't want to go too far with the goofiness. I think it's a nice balance right now. I think she also mentioned she did not throw that power veto competition. She just does not have great cardio skills. So she said Derek X, Kyland, and Xavier all make her really nervous. She's not necessarily targeting them right away, but she is nervous to have them in the game later on. Claire also apologized to the viewers for being part of a big alliance. She's a live feed viewer, so she knows. She's a real fan. She knows what it's like to watch a big alliance and how much they suck sometimes. So she says the good news is that we're all turning on each other. That's fun. That is fun. But she says, I've wanted to turn against Kyland and Sarah Beth for 2 weeks now. Ooh, okay. She also mentions she's really happy to have Tiffany in the house with her because Tiffany is so smart. She's so good at the game and they get along great. And she wants to have fun for the next 2 weeks because she's safe from the wildcard competition. But she also really wants to use this time to focus on building up her individual relationships with people to make sure that she's really set up well for when her safety expires. So she also says she wouldn't mind working with Christian and Alyssa a little bit longer. Everyone keeps saying that. Break up the showmance. But she wants to keep them around. It sounds like her next target would be Sarah Beth. And then she would love to see Christian take a shot at Kyland once Sarah Beth is gone. Oh my goodness. And then I guess her use for Christian would pretty much be over, so she could go after him at that point. But anyway, meanwhile, a lot of interesting stuff in there. But anyway, Azah and Big D were chatting in the Have Not room. And Azah's telling Big D, don't stress. I know you're a little bit freaked out this week, but we are in a great position right now with the Cookout Alliance. If any of us were to go up on the block against somebody outside of the Alliance, there's like a 90% chance that we're going to be safe, because we have the votes to keep each other here. So we are in a very good position. Just relax. It's a real reversal of fortunes here. I feel like Big D is usually the one telling Azah, like, get a grip. But Big D is trying to figure out who's more dangerous moving forward. Is it Alyssa or is it Sarah Beth? He's like, I can't read Sarah Beth. And Azah says, yeah, but Sarah Beth is so much more honest than anybody else in this house. And she actually gives an emotional F about things. Of course, Azah's going to care about that. But she says Sarah Beth has a heart and she cares. And that means something to her. So Azah says, for now, we need to really focus on the shared threats for everyone in our group. Unfortunately, that's Christian and Alyssa. Finally, somebody's talking about targeting the showmance. I mean, really. But Azah says that Alyssa is more of a threat than Christian. And honestly, like a few weeks ago, I would have agreed with her just because of all of Alyssa's social connections. But now that we've seen what Christian is capable of in competitions, I feel like you got to take out Christian first, right? I think so. But Big D says he doesn't want to put up any guys. He's not doing it. He's been saying that this whole entire time. He's still saying it. He would want to put Sarah Beth and Alyssa up on the block. And Azah's like, I don't know. I really think we would need to use a Cookout member as a pawn. Because it would look really weird if we didn't. She was going through all these different options of who could be up as a pawn. And she was right. A lot of them just seemed really odd and they didn't make sense. So she was like, we need to just put a Cookout member up there as the pawn. Like you could put up Kyland and Alyssa, and Sarah Beth could be the replacement nominee if Christian were to win the power of veto and save Alyssa. And Big D is like, no, I wouldn't want to put up any dudes if I won HOH. I would be more comfortable putting up Hannah as the pawn against Alyssa. And Azah's like, okay, sure. Like that would make sense for you. Cool with it. Sure. So then a little later, Derek X and Kyland were chatting in the kitchen. Ooh, this is a little drama. I felt a little uncomfortable watching this. So they were chatting, and Whitney came in and she tells Derek X, I'm upset with you. Uh-oh. She was saying that Derek X was talking to some people about slop, and DX said, oh, it would just be me and Hannah on slop next week, implying that Whitney is definitely leaving this week. Yikes. I feel like there have been a lot of slip-ups like that this season. Yeah. Whitney says that's really effed up. And DX apologizes. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'll make whatever you want to eat for you. And Whitney says, you straight up already know that I'm going home. And that's really, it's effed up. So after Whitney leaves, Kylan tells DX, don't get upset. Whitney has said multiple times that she wants to go home to her kids before jury. So she's just playing this up right now. It's tactical. Don't let it bother you. But Derek X was really feeling like a jerk about it for a while yesterday. Ooh. Okay. So then Claire and Tiffany were having a game chat in the Coral bedroom. And Claire says, I really want one of the two of us to win the next HOH competition so we can get some stuff done here. Tiffany says, we'd have to put up either Sarah Beth and Kyland, since those two are really tight, or Sarah Beth and Brittany would be a pawn. They feel like people would be on board to take out Sarah Beth. There's a lot of people behind this potential move. There was more talk about how they think Sarah Beth could potentially be America's player. Tiffany saying, you know what? It's almost week 5 already, and America hasn't had any influence on the game yet that we can see. So maybe they have been a part of it this whole time, and we just don't know. You know, maybe Sarah Beth is America's player. So after Tiffany was alone talking to the cameras, and she's like, my brain does not rest. I'm always coming up with theories. So she feels like Sarah Beth is hiding a lot of who she is. You know, she's always sitting there with her sunglasses on, just quietly, not really sharing that much about herself. And Tiffany says that makes her very suspicious to me. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. So she's like, why is Sarah Beth hiding? What's going on there? So Tiffany also says the way that Sarah Beth is coming after Hannah is also a big turnoff to her. If she can target Hannah in that way, she can do the same exact thing to me. Plus, I'm working with Hannah. I don't want to see her go. I have this whole master plan in place, and it's going to get messed up if Hannah goes. So she says Sarah Beth is trying to throw a monkey wrench in my game, and I'm not having that. So she says whatever I have to do to ensure that people want Sarah Beth to go, that's what I have to do. It's a game. That's how you play Big Brother. So it sounds like she probably doesn't actually believe the Sarah Beth being America's player thing. She doesn't think that that's for real, but she's really playing it up and stirring it up with other people to make sure they're all on the evict Sarah Beth train. So that's interesting. It's interesting gameplay right there. But Whitney and Brittany check in the backyard, and Whitney says she is going to talk to Christian about using the power veto. She's going to say, look, I understand your position. There's a lot of girls left in here. You know, no girls have left yet. And I know that you want to even out the numbers, but wouldn't it be more beneficial for your game to take out Derek X or Kyland or another player like that? And she says those guys have all proven themselves to be threats. Whitney says, I feel like this argument makes a lot of sense. And she says originally she didn't want to throw anyone under the bus. She wasn't planning on trying to get Christian to use the power veto. But after Derek X's little slip up, basically telling Whitney she's going home, she's pissed. So Brittany is encouraging Whitney to talk to Christian because, you know, Brittany low-key would also like to see a big threat like Derek X or Kyland leave. And Whitney says DX is a really strong competitor and he's got great relationships with people all throughout the house. And Whitney says on the flip side, I haven't won shit. And I only talked to like 3 people in the house. So you do the math here. But Whitney overall is not happy with her team at this point. She says they were nowhere to be found after she was nominated. Nobody was asking how she's doing. She says, wow, I'm the Brent this week. Yep. So Brittany says it's not over until it's over. You know, even if Christian doesn't use the power veto, you should fight to stay here. So later, Kyland was talking to the cameras in the storage room, and Kyland's like, I love the Royal Flush Alliance. Love it, love it, love it. But it is hard to ignore how risky it would be to go into the jury portion of the game with 4 kings still here. Because if all 4 kings make it to jury, if one of them makes it to the final 2, that person could potentially already have 3 votes locked in. So he's like, if all 4 of them make it to the jury, none of them can make it to the final 2 because it's too dangerous. He's like, I'm not really sure what to do with that situation because he's got deals to go to the end with Tiffany and Xavier. So Xavier is in the Kings. So he's like, maybe I go to the end with Tiffany instead of Xavier. I don't know. It's a little soon, so he's got time to think about it. But anyway, Kyland says that Tiffany really wants to win HOH this week because her birthday is on Thursday. But Tiffany's number 1 target is somebody that Kyland thinks would be a vote for him to win. That's Sarah Beth. So he says it's tough. I don't really know what to do. But Kyland is talking about keeping his ego in check in this game. He's saying he's got to downplay his strengths. And he says this week, the priority is to protect Hannah. And he says, we're good at this point. As long as Christian doesn't change his target, we're good. But if he does, there's going to be a lot of tension because the cookout is not going to want to vote out Hannah. And they don't want to expose themselves at this point. So Kylan says he thinks everyone's pretty much going to be gunning for HOH this coming week. But he does not want Sarah Beth or Alyssa to win, which is wild because he's so close to Sarah Beth. But it seems like at this point he is definitely more loyal to the cookout. But he says Sarah Beth and Alyssa, they don't have the same target as me. They would put Azah and Hannah up on the block, and I'm aligned with both of them. I don't want that to happen. So then Sarah Beth comes in, and Kylan invites her to also talk to the cameras. And Sarah Beth tells the cameras she's disappointed because this week is not going the way that would have been best for her game. So she says Whitney and Hannah have both said that they would put me up on the block. And if Whitney stays, everyone would go after her next week. Hannah, she could slip through the cracks, fly under the radar for a while. And that's not good. So Kylan says Hannah would not put Sarah Beth up on the block unless I told her to. He's pretty confident there. But Sarah Beth's like, I don't know why you think you have her. Doesn't it concern you that Xavier and Christian also think that they have Hannah under their control? And Kylan says, well, you shouldn't be complaining because you still have all your teammates left and we're about to start jury soon. Ooh, these two were definitely like arguing. Like it felt like an argument. It was getting a little bit intense. So Kylan says he would be nervous if Whitney or Brittany won HOH because he thinks that they would both come after him. It's possible. Sarah Beth says she would be nervous if Hannah won HOH, that Hannah would come after her. So they're both trying to convince each other that they would be safe in those situations. They're just going back and forth. Neither one of them is budging on their argument. Yeah, so Sarah Beth says, all that aside, if she wins the next HOH and it's double eviction, she would target Derek X. Wow, that's a big move. And then she says if Derek X won the power of veto, maybe she would go after Christian. She would try and make that big move and split up the showmance. Dang, girl. Wild. Okay, so by the end of the conversation, Sarah Beth apologizes. She's like, I know I'm a diva. I just want things to go my way. Okay. So then later, Tiffany had a quick conversation with Derek X in the living room. And Tiffany says, Sarah Beth needs to go next week. So DX, he wants some details because he was not at the meeting with the queens and the kings before the nomination ceremony. He's heard lots about it, how Sarah Beth and Kylan were kind of arguing back and forth like they just were in the storage room. He was not there for that. So he wants more details. And he knows that Sarah Beth was pushing hard for Hannah to go. So then DX says, Sarah Beth has been on his radar. They agree that she's been downplaying how much of a fan she is of the show. She's a very dangerous player. So then Azah comes over and interrupts this conversation. But DX and Tiffany pick it up later. And DX basically confirms, yes, he is on board to take a shot at Sarah Beth next week. Sarah Beth is definitely like the new house target. She's got a lot of people coming after her. So the other day, we talked about Derek X and Hannah trying to get something going with Christian and Alyssa. Duos protecting duos. You hate to see it. So DX already started laying the groundwork with Alyssa the other day. Now, Hannah and Alyssa are chatting. So Alyssa says, I don't want you to think that I would have put you up on the block this week just because Christian did. You know, I wasn't like totally on board with that move. Okay, so she's kind of like throwing him under the bus a little bit in a way. But it's funny too because Alyssa wanted to target Hannah this week after Sarah Beth convinced her that she should. But Hannah is asking Alyssa, would you put me up next week as a pawn? And Alyssa says, no, I don't think I would, but I can't promise 100% because, who knows what's going to happen with the wild card and or the veto. So they talk about that, whatever. And then Hannah brings up the team twist is probably going to be ending soon. Yeah, like next week. Woo! And she says, you and Christian are a strong duo. There's no doubt about that. So she's asking Alyssa, would you keep around another duo to shield you? And Alyssa says, it would make sense for the four of us to work together. Alyssa, Christian, Hannah, and Derek X. She says, people are expecting us to go after each other. Why not work together and take out the people that are coming after us? Ugh, so like a showmance alliance? Not a fan. But anyway, we've heard a few conversations about this now. So they have yet to all four meet together. But every time they have these conversations, Alyssa goes back and talks to Christian. And Christian does not seem into it. He does not want to work with those two. He doesn't trust them completely. But Alyssa is always going with the flow when she's talking to Hannah and Derek X. So later, Whitney gave the women a makeup class. And this is one of her like Big Brother bucket list activities. So now that she knows she's probably leaving, she's trying to get all those activities in there. So meanwhile, while that makeup class was happening, Big D and Xavier were chatting on the Sky Bridge. And Xavier says, Sarah Beth has made it evident that she is coming after a member of the cookout. So she's got to go. We can't keep her around. And he says, on the other hand, Alyssa and Christian, not coming after Hannah. So we need to prioritize here to protect the cookout alliance. So Big D is saying he would like to put up Hannah and Sarah Beth if he were to win HOH next week. And Xavier's like, yeah, it's fine. As long as Hannah doesn't go, we have the votes to keep her safe. But then he's like, on second thought, it would just be safer to put Sarah Beth up on the block against Alyssa because then the vote would be less likely to flip. So Big D is asking, well, if I put those two up, what do I do if Sarah Beth wins the power veto? Who would I put up? And Xavier says, at that point, you'd have to put Christian up on the block because if we can't get rid of Sarah Beth, we need to split up the showmance, right? He's not trying to be like, don't take out anybody from my team. He's saying like, yes, I understand that the Kings have to be broken up. So if we can't get Sarah Beth, go for the showmance. It has to be done. So Big D squeals. He's like, and Xavier says in that situation, if it was Christian versus Alyssa, he feels that Christian would be the one leaving. And Xavier's pretty confident that he could pull in Alyssa because he's got a really close relationship with her and with Christian. So she probably would go to Xavier. So then Kylan joins them and they're talking about Kylan throwing the HOH competition to Big D if possible, because again, they want to target Sarah Beth and Kylan cannot be the one to do that because he is super close to Sarah Beth. However, he is understanding that this move needs to happen. He is not really putting up much of a fight at this point. I don't know if it's just because it's not a set thing yet. Maybe the situation will be different if it were like actually happening. But right now, he's kind of just like going along with it and saying like, I understand that this needs to happen. Ooh. All right. So they're also telling Big D, you got to be the one to take the shot next week. Uh-oh. You're going to leave it up to Big D? Okay. So then Big Brother gave the house guests their thimble of alcohol last night. The ladies already had their makeup done from Whitney's class, and everybody, the men and the women, all dressed up and had a BB nightclub themed party. Whoa. They all looked great, and it seemed like a lot of fun. And it looked cool too because they have that balcony in the backyard area now, and it's sick. I love the design of it. But they also did this like Big Brother Love Island. They set up like speed dating with like made up characters, fake names, fake jobs, like all that stuff. And then they were rating like who had the best game, who was the worst. So they had a lot of fun with that. And then after, they did like the electric slide or something, but it was to their Big Blue Couch theme song. They had a big group hug. They were posing for group photos. It's a fun cast this season. They are a lot of fun to watch. Good for them. And then some late night activities after that. First of all, we've got Derek X and Alyssa chatting, and it was more discussion about their two duos working together moving forward. I mean, we've heard it. We know. And Alyssa is saying she wants to stick with the Royal Flush to the final 8. And guess what? Hannah is not in the Royal Flush. But she says if someone outside of our group were to win HOH and take out one of our alliance members, maybe Hannah could take that person's spot. Okay. But then after this conversation, Alyssa was telling Christian about it later, and she said to Christian, there's no way that she would go to the final 4 with Derek X. She says, I'm not an idiot. So she's playing along when she's talking to them, but I don't know how likely these 4 are to actually work together when one of them is not in power. All right. So then in other news, a lot of the house guests were noticing how touchy-feely Sarah Beth and Kyland were last night. I mean, they're like always cuddled up and everything, but apparently the alcohol really brought it out more than usual yesterday, which is like super awkward because Sarah Beth has a girlfriend back home. It was awkward. But anyway, in other news, Tiffany was continuing to talk about the possibility of someone being America's Player this season. She's talking about Sarah Beth. She's also talking about taking Sarah Beth out next week. A lot of people are on board with it. All right. And then this was probably like the funniest thing that happened yesterday. Okay. Christian and Alyssa were like fooling around in the HOH room, and then they hear, guess who it is? It's Brittany. Woo! So Brittany, okay, so they know that Brittany's at the door. Alyssa jumps out of bed in her freaking underwear and t-shirt, and she's like running to hide in the bathroom, and Christian's like, hold on, Brittany, I gotta find my glasses. And he's got a freaking like boner. He answers the door, and Brittany's like, oh, did I wake you up? Like, is Alyssa in here? And he's like, Alyssa's in the bathroom. And then she's just standing there like, and then she's telling Christian like, oh, I wanted to talk to Alyssa because when we were doing our makeup earlier, Alyssa said, oh, like nice DSLs, and I winked at her, but then I found out what DSLs means, and I'm pretty sure I learned from Real Housewives that DSL means like dick sucking lips. So Brittany was like, when I found out what that meant, I got to take back my wink. So that's why I'm here and looking for Alyssa, because I need to take back my wink. So it was like super awkward and weird. And then after this all went down, of course, Alyssa comes out of the bathroom. She's like, oh yeah, I was like gonna take a shower up here, or like I was waiting for so-and-so to go to sleep, and like I wanted the lights off, or oh, I was helping Christian with his POV speech. Like she had all these weird ass excuses. Girl, everybody knows what you're doing. But of course, after this all went down, the not a showmance, Alyssa and Christian were pissed. Like, was Brittany trying to spy on us? Was she trying to out us to everybody? Everybody knows you're together. You're always together and you're always all over each other. Just stop. And they're like, why are we called a duo? Like Sarah Beth and Kyland are always cuddled up and nobody points them out. Well, yeah, they do. I can't take these two being like, why does everyone say we're a duo? It's ridiculous. I don't know. But it was a fun Brittany moment. I enjoyed it. So then, that was last night. Today, they had the Power Veto ceremony. I don't think Whitney ever had her conversation with Christian about using the Power Veto, unless it happened off feeds or I missed it. But I didn't see it anywhere. So, yeah, as expected, Christian did not use the Power Veto. Whitney and Hannah remain up on the block. And as of right now, Whitney is leaving on Thursday. So that's where we're at. I mean, I don't really see this vote flipping just because the cookout is so locked in. But I mean, you never know what could happen. I don't know if Whitney's even going to try and campaign this week. We'll see what happens, but let me know what you guys think about all that. Wasn't that fun?
I didn't know what DSL was, but now I do.
Remember Erica Jane on Beverly Hills?
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was an Erica thing.
Probably.
I'm pretty
That would
sure.
make
That's
sense.
where I remember hearing it. All right. But anyway, I want to thank all of our super chatters. You guys are amazing. Jefferson Tucker, thank you so much. And if you guys haven't seen yet, the supercut that Jefferson put together
It's fantastic.
of my awkward moments, it's a lot of fun. It's like
We-
8.5 minutes of pure fun.
We laughed and
We did
laughed,
laugh.
and then we laughed some more.
We did. So thank you again for making
Thank you,
that and for your
Jefferson.
super chat. Carolyn Harmon, thank you so much for the super chat. You are awesome. Catherine Cruz, thank you so much for the super chat. And Catherine asks, who is my favorite player so far? That's a good question. I love me some Claire and Tiffany. I love watching them work. Sometimes it's too much and I want Tiffany to stop, but I just love the way that she thinks about everything and breaks it all down. So I would say those are my two favorites right now, but I really enjoy Hannah, Derek X, Kyland. Who else? I love Xavier. I think he's really, really smart. Louis, come in. Come
I
on.
refuse.
Bowie. She's like, not for me.
I'll pass.
Yeah, but those are my peeps so far that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sure I'm forgetting someone. Yeah. But thank you for the super chat and for your question. Janet Tucker, thank you so much for the super chat. All right. So that's it for today. Again, if you guys are interested in our beautiful plant-based
what?
air fryer
What's that?
cookbook.
Who put that there?
Whoa.
It's really good.
It is excellent. It's wonderful. So again, if you guys already have your own copy, if you want to leave a review on Amazon, that really helps it it helps us get the book noticed more with like
Right.
the algorithm and everything. So
Everyone always says, "Oh, the algorithm."
the
But
algorithm.
it's so true.
It actually is true. Reviews definitely help. So anyway, thank you guys.
If you think it's good.
Yeah. I mean, you can leave a negative review too if like you aren't feeling that strongly about it.
We
but,
don't
like-
want you to lie, but like,
Okay, no. Leave an honest review.
Okay.
All right. So that's it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. It's been a blast as always. And until next time, much love.